This is a coin reading for ZILLIQA. The date of Genesis is January 31st, 2019. This reading is going to be different than the last reading I did. I am using Louise McWhirter's techniques. Although she used her techniques for the stock market, I'm applying this to the crypto market and the crypto coins. One thing I would like to point out before we begin, this is how the chart looks normally generated, or generated with the sun in the positions. Louise McWhirter has the sun places the sun as the ascendant. The degree that starts the ascendant line is the degree of the sun, and then the rest of the house cusps would be 1 degree above that. So the sun here is at 10 degrees, that's the line, the degree of the ascendant, and each of the following cusps fall on the 11 degree line. This technique is different than other chart readings I have done, but her technique is proved to work, so I am using it and applying it to ZILLIQA. The sun is at 10 degrees of Aquarius. The sun in the chart is one of the most important planets. It represents the coin, company behind the coin, the people behind the coin, and second to the sun is the moon. The moon represents the investors, people who invest into the coin, into the platform, the ecosystem, the product. So the sun and the moon, their aspects to the rest of the chart are very important. So the sun is at 10 degrees of Aquarius. So the ruler of this chart, the planetary ruler, is Uranus. Midheaven is in Scorpio. So Uranus and Pluto are the two planetary rulers who rule the chart. Let's go back to the sun. Sun being at 10 degrees of Aquarius. 10 degrees represents the degree of Capricorn. Capricorn is that hard working planet. Saturn rules Capricorn. The sun is sextiling the moon, which is a really good placement. It's a harmonious placement. That's number one. That's great. The company itself, the people behind the company, the platform itself. And I say the company because when these coins start, they're not fully decentralized yet. Someone has to start them, and then they can become decentralized. But when it was started, it was not decentralized yet. So the company, the people behind the company, forming this ecosystem, sextile to the moon, the people, the investors, is a very harmonious interaction. The sun does square the midheaven, and the midheaven's ruler is Pluto. So let's go to Pluto right now. And the sun does not aspect Pluto, or does not have an aspect. The moon also doesn't have an aspect with Pluto, which is okay, which is fine. There's nothing negative or positive there. And let's look at Uranus as well, because that is the ruler of the ascendant. Uranus does square the north node, but it also trines Venus. Venus is a tiebreaker. They are neither a positive nor negative influence. They are tiebreakers of other transits to understand how the price trend is going to be, how the trend of the coin is going to go, the longevity of the coin. So let's just keep that in mind. We're going to go back to the moon now. The moon is sextile to Mercury, and the sun is conjunct Mercury. This would be a positive influence. Being next to the sun and the moon have a harmonious relationship. So the Mercury is coming in and just emphasizing that harmonious relationship. Communication between the company, the platform, the ecosystem, and the investors, the people utilizing the ecosystem, have good communication. Mercury does not aspect Mercury again is conjunct the sun. It does square the midheaven. So there is showing some challenges, but with the sun sextile to the moon, it can overcome those challenges. And Pluto rules the midheaven. There's no aspects to the Pluto, which again, negative nor positive, but that's a good thing because there was a square to Pluto that could prove even more of a challenge. Mars is the activity of the coin, the price activity. Mars is trining Venus and it trines the moon. So again, this is a positive. It has a good price action. It could be volatile at times like any other coin, but there is the trine. So it's people do support this coin, this ecosystem. Jupiter is trine Mars. Jupiter is the planet of expansion. It's expanding the prices, expanding the prices, expanding the ecosystem. And it is conjunct the moon, next to the moon. So the people themselves, the users of the ecosystem, the investors, they're expanding, they're growing the ecosystem, helping it to grow, to become more profitable. Jupiter is also squared to Neptune. So Neptune, it squares the moon, squares Jupiter, but it sextiles Saturn. Sextiling Saturn is good because it can overcome the limitations. Neptune rules Pisces. That's that fantasy, that artistic, the more of a creative side to the coin. Neptune being in the second house. The second house is the house of the finances, of the money. Sextiling Saturn being in the 12th house. Saturn is in its home sign. That is good because it makes Saturn stronger and can overcome any limitations, especially with Jupiter, that's square to Jupiter and the moon. Jupiter and the moon are in the same house. They are in set. Jupiter is in its home sign as well, but I feel because it's able to overcome whatever limitations that come its way. There will be limitations. There will be periods of contraction with this coin, with this token, periods of having a hard time growing, coming up to challenges. But with Saturn there in Capricorn sextiling Neptune, I feel like it's able to overcome them. Coming to Uranus. Uranus squares the North Node, trines Venus. The North Node is in the 6th house, the house of work, the house of the work of the coin. The North Node is in Cancer in the business cycle. Cancer is the prices, the economy is on its way up. It's above normal. Leo is the top, is the best part of the chart. So that square to Uranus, which is the ruler of the midheaven, will pose some challenges. There are challenges with this coin. Perhaps that could mean the price is not what people are expecting. They're expecting it to be higher and it just hasn't met that. Or there's this expectation of the coin that just is having a hard time being met. The North Node is opposing Pluto and square to Mars. Pluto is next to Saturn in that 12th house. Saturn is those limitations. Mars is the market movement. Mars in Aries, very fiery here in the 3rd house. That 3rd house is communication. There'll be challenges with this coin, with this ecosystem. I feel with this placement here, having to undergo a transformation, an unforeseen transformation in order to achieve what they're trying to achieve their goal, to achieve a better version of the ecosystem, to improve the ecosystem. North Node being in Cancer, that again is good for the fact that it makes the activity above normal. So I would say if the North Node was in Aquarius, that would hinder it during difficult times. But because it's in Cancer, it's able to rise above these challenges, these unexpected challenges that it will have, especially in communication. Communication could cause this price volatility, unexpected volatility. Chiron trines the North Node. Louise, she did not speak about Chiron. She didn't mention Chiron. I am putting Chiron in here because it is also considered a financial planet to look at. It does trine the North Node. To me, this signifies that whatever challenges and hindrances of this coin that it needs to heal, it will be able to overcome it. It's like it has to overcome these challenges in order to make itself better. All in all, this coin I believe, has longevity to it. The sun and the moon are in a great placement with each other. They're sextiling. So that is the number one thing we need to keep in mind. If it was in a negative aspect, then I would say the challenges that it will face, it might not be able to overcome. There will be volatility, yes. There will be challenges, yes, but the placements are strong enough in this coin. I feel that it will work hard to overcome these challenges and be able to expand its ecosystem. And the people, with the moon being next to Jupiter, will help to expand it because they believe in it fully. One last thing to look at is the Neptune-Mars midpoint. Midpoint line is at 2 degrees of Aries and 2 degrees of Libra. And there is nothing at those points, which is good. Although I must say, because the North Node is in Aries now and the South Node is in Libra, when it does cross over that point, which won't be until towards the end of the 18 months because it moves backwards, there would be some challenges because it will cross over that 2 degree line. So expect some challenges to be faced, volatility in price to be faced when those lines meet up. All in all, again, this is a good coin. It has longevity to it. Thanks for watching.